Why, one thing I've noticed recently, the speed at which they solve some of these crimes is quite impressive. So I reached out to, I spoke to two people in the government on this. And that's the Attorney General. And I also had like a back and forth audios with the Minister of Interior on this matter. And I think they understand the magnitude of this problem, but also understand that it would have to be all hands on deck, you know. But like there was something that the Interior Minister pointed out in his audio, and that is the help that the police is also getting from the public. Because maybe without the public's participation, they would not have been able to solve some of these crimes because of the swift response from the public in helping the police identify some of these alleged perpetrators is important. Because like he, I think, referenced the issue in Fajara. I think you read that where somebody, when they followed the person, fired some shots in the air and all that stuff. They were apprehended because some people decided to take the number plate of the car that they were, you know, getting away with, and then giving it to the police. But, and then, you know, we discussed about, because the other problem that we have in the Gambia, Musa, more this drug. There is this drug called Kush or whatever it is called. It's just crazy. And it is doing a number on our young people in that country. So how do we solve that problem? I think that's the $1 million question that we all must answer as citizens and those that are entrusted with governing the country. Because so you maybe want to be going to the Gambia on holidays, but I don't think that's going to be very great if you go there and every time you're watching your back, thinking that somebody is following you or somebody might do something to you. No.
Yeah.
Crazy. But I like your glasses, Musa. I think you know, I think on that
Gana tudongo correct Jackson. But Samba, actually I did not watch Juka's live, and so I'm definitely looking forward to having her on the platform to talk about it. I mean, but listening to some of the things that you have kind of mentioned, the very fact that they want to try not to politicize it, because the moment you do that, then people get divided, and then you know how our countries, everything tends to be seen within partisan lenses, and that would be counterproductive. For someone like me living in Atlanta, living in Washington D.C., every morning that I watch local news is murder upon murder, and
I stopped watching it because of that.
So I mean, that's all every day. Crime is like rampant as hell. Now, again, there's something else that you have said. Gambia is a very small country, and we're not used to that. But when you hear murder, I mean, it takes a long time before you even hear another one. That doesn't, and I'm not trying to in any way kind of dispel that we are at that emergency crescendo, and something definitely needs to be done. So attempt like this is important. But still, compared to other urban areas, even within Africa, I think we are at the lower end. But again, our population has to be taken into consideration. Drugs is rampant. Something needs to be done. Crime, without a doubt, we are not known for that. And I'm really happy that Juka and all of us would kind of come together and talk about this issue in a way that it cannot be seen as politicians would just hijack it and make it about themselves. I think the moment we do that, it will be counterproductive and not helpful. Again, like you said about the police, even when we were in the Gambia, I mean, again, we're always on and sometimes I even get mad at them. They're on checkpoints upon checkpoints, and sometimes it can be frustrating. But the fact that you have police all over the place, I mean, it's helpful. It's definitely helpful. Now, the government needs to do a lot more than that. Yes, absolutely. A lot more than that. Give the police the tools that they need. Absolutely important. Because these are the people kind of creating the security blanket for us. So If you don't give them the tools, it will be very difficult for them to fight crime. I mean, and then I was hearing somebody else was saying that, I don't know whether it was a government official or just somebody else with an opinion, that this crime itself is imported. In other words,
Yeah, it was the police.
It was the police. Most of the people that are committing it, I mean, coincidentally, tends to be foreigners. I'm going to easy because they don't really have any, I want to say, social inhibitions. You know, we tend to know each other. Like we said, Gambia is such a small community that, and again, that doesn't mean after going through 22 years of jammeh, that is not to say that our people are capable of committing heinous crimes, doing very bad stuff.
I think sometimes you have to be very careful with that.
Yes.
Because the general belief that we had. But again, like I said, whoever does this is either a family member, a friend, or a neighbor.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter whether they came from China or Japan or from the Gambia.
Absolutely.
Because they don't come and build their houses, we rent it to them.
Yes.
So we interact with them. So we should know each other.
Yes.
And this is where I think we should make it our business to also, I think maybe we need to develop community policing a lot more, you know, yes. And then try to see how to solve this issue. It's not an easy one to fix.
It's not. It's definitely not.
It's difficult. And you will not even know how serious it is until you have to deal with it. Like my niece that was bludgeoned to death. Yaji is still going to court.
Yeah.
So the wheels of justice become much smaller and painfully so, because every day you are reminded of that. So it's a big challenge.
I think the statistics are also very important. You know what I mean? I mean, to find out, let's say, for instance, in the year 2023, how many murders did we actually have? How many burglaries do we actually have? Information, I think, is absolutely essential for the police. Because unless and until you know where crimes are committed, how they are committed, that's when you will devise strategy and say, okay, this is our problem. That's the only way that you will begin to confront it.
But we don't. But and probably what Halifax intervention was the need to have data.
Yes,
on all these things.
absolutely.
There was something I saw. I was reading the papers. I think it was on Foria. And Bansan Hospital said that over the past 10 years, there were 146 maternal deaths. Women who were giving birth, dying, 146.
Right.
Now, if you look at it, well, that's 10 years, but that's like 14 a year. That's like more than one a month. And now you ask yourself, okay, if it is happening in Bansang that much, what about the other hospitals? What is happening? But we don't, unless you have data collected, you will not be able to come up with at least a solution. Because most of these other countries, what they do, they use data to develop policy.
Exactly.
It's
exactly what my point is. Instead that we wouldn't succumb ourselves to sometimes what I would call overreaction or overkill without knowing exactly.
Or underreaction.
Or underreaction. Because just one big heinous crime, and we're like, oh my God, the country is coming ablaze. I mean, we need to know how many murders are we actually having in the Gambia. And you mentioned Bansang Hospital. When you said 146 people, maternal death within 10 years, how many successful deliveries too as well? That needs to be put into consideration. If you say 146 and all they had is 200 babies, it's like, oh my God, that is a problem. If you're talking about 10,000 babies, 146 maternal death, it changes the how one looks at.
But that will not also stop you from looking at what is. It's just like you are a controller, Musa.
Right.
Your company makes $10 million profit, but you have seen we've also lost $100,000. Just because you made 10 million doesn't make you to just dismiss the 100,000 as nothing. You would want to look at it, but what could we have done to avoid this shrinkage? What gave led to it? And then you try to cover the holes. And these are some of the issues that we have to look at.
Oh, no doubt. no doubt, no doubt. I mean, and looking at, I mean, bringing the controller and accounting thing, and this is where materiality comes into play. You know, how material is it? You know what I mean? I mean, how material, let's say, using your example, in terms of the expenses in regards to doing business, all that needs to be looked at. Again, coming back to crime in the Gambia, we are not known for that, really. I mean, murder cases, that's not what Gambia is about, like compared to like Lagos or South Africa, you know, countries like that. I mean, that's just the order of the day. Right here in Atlanta, order of the day. Every morning, bro, I wake up and I'm listening to the local news. Seriously, 2, 3 murders every day.
Shooting everywhere.
Shooting everywhere.
Oh, I went to work. So later, they were, oh, did you see the cops? They were here. I said, here doing what? They say, well, they were shooting at the train station that's next to us, Claremont.
Right.
I'm like, when was this? It said 4 o'clock, you were here. But I didn't even know they were there because they were looking for the alleged shooter or something. So they were asking whether people saw something. I'm like, I didn't even know that was happening. But these are things that happen every time. But again, yes, this is why most of these places where it happens, those governments are also confronted. Like DC, there is a reason why your Republican friends in Congress are always talking about, oh, before you talk about crime in DC and all this in Chicago, talk about crimes in Chicago.
Yes, yes.
Because, but we have to. So look at that lady, Sakuna, I think that's the name, the black British. I think we may have had her on this show. Yeah, if you remember during the when we talked about the draft constitution.
Yes.
We had Usman Ture.
Correct.
I think it was her. They were the ones talking about their right to citizenship because they came from the.
Was she the one that got killed?
I think it was her. I just have to go back to the tapes, but I want to believe that either it was her or somebody who works with her. But I believe maybe it was her because she was one of the most prominent amongst them. And I've seen her a lot of times on some of these Doy things, you know, did a video with Halifa, talk about all these things. And this lady was killed, according to the police, with a hammer.
My God.
And thrown in I think it was a sockaway or whatever they call it, you know. And you see what Musa would just shock you because it's like, how callous must somebody be? It's just, I don't know, man. We have to find a way of solving this. I don't know. I don't think there are any easy answers for anybody.
Oh no.
But again,
I mean,
the police also need to be helped to be able
countries
to.
Or cities are dealing with it. You just have to look at what other communities are doing that is working. Again, and that is not just to take something and transplant it to our community. We are different, but again, I believe policing.
It was the other woman who works with her who was killed. The
policing is important. Yeah. Giving them the tools is absolutely important. Like you said, I mean, the community get it, but again, it really comes down to the people. Policy, yawun bopa. You know, somebody goes out there and do something horrible. And they're the ones that are going to turn around and trying to find out who actually did it. They need the tools. They need the community participating in the process. And based on what you're telling me, it looks like, I mean, people are being proactive. I mean, most Gambians be like, bro, they have a problem with this crime thing.
Of course.
If there is one thing that we know that we cannot afford, it's really crime. I mean, people going out there, electricity. You know, I mean, I talked to my, let's say, for instance, I mean, my nephew who happens to be at my house, and he's like, why, uncle? I mean, in other words, increase the fence. In other words, they were in the back wire, and we put it all around the fence. Those are the kind of things that they're talking
in your own home.
That's what it is. I mean, it's just it's not the way things used to be in the Gambia. Let's forget about it. It's not Gambia in the 70s.
You build a house and turn it into a prison. That's what it is. Because you absolutely have all these barbed wires way up to the sky.
All the way. You know? Yes. In
fact, even you have what you call this ring or whatever, you'll sit here monitoring your house because
I do have that too. You have to have a security camera.
It's crazy, but we have to put all hands on deck. I know we are talking about this dialogue but these are all the things that we have to look at. It's not only about politicians not getting along with politicians. They have never gotten along anyway. They will never get along. But at least let's have a country. Let's have a country
that's one of the issues that should have been front and center then. If it is that important, if it is that, in other words, now all of a sudden, like crime get committed, and then we have oh my God, the sky is falling down. Apparently, just having a dialogue, so faking a crime, what has been a problem in the Gambia. That should have been front and center. So that these politicians
Musa, any gathering that the president has had with people, look at even the Tobaski gatherings or whatever they call it, Korete gathering, that has always been part of what is discussed.
Right.
Crime in the country, crime. It's not like, but like you said, because we don't develop policies based on what is important. We develop policies based on what is new. Like I was telling somebody within the president's circle. I'm like, maybe you need to remind the president that this peace thing that he is celebrating today will be meaningless if Gambians do not live in peace.
Yeah.
Because the peace of that country is more important than you are the most peaceful person. You can be peaceful at the State House, but as long as people feel, Gambia, it's just like, I don't even know where to start, but something has to change, but it cannot change like you can rightly put it the other time. It's not by pointing fingers at people or you are. We have to sit and say, okay, what can we do? We have the ideas. Let's compete it. Do we need to equip our police? Maybe we do. You go to a police station and they put them in a Pukus Bundau. Even laptop, they don't have it. They're still using this, like I said, logbooks, And the other day when I was in the Gambia, I had an interview at one of the radio stations. And the interviewer was, there was a police station that some people attacked. The police station itself stole their evidences. The cell phones that they seized from people and all that stuff. That's what the thieves went to the police. The police. I'm not talking about coming to Musa's house. No. The police station. The police that are supposed to be policing the people. They attacked their police station, stole their stuff, and overpowered them. How could you have stopped that? I don't know.
But Samba, growing up, in Kaur, I remember, and I'm sure in other localities, we had this thing about the police, their uniform, send badge, send cappy, the boots, the socks. People look up to them. There was the fear. Respect lane. So police had a certain persona within the community. It's not like that anymore.
Oh, it's not.
It's the way they're seen, the way they're treated. Bro, and I have to be honest, whether it's the IG or the culture, but they have changed. Because I did mention that the last time, Bimaneme Gambia. I've been driving to checkpoints. They have never asked me for anything. Personally, the entire month that I was in the Gambia, it did not happen to me. Really. And I haven't even given a dime to any police officer. But again, coming back to the issue that you mentioned, a police station, unless people look at it, why is it a bit of Pukus Budawla that you cannot even differentiate it with some of these other residential, housing or offices. I think it needs to be elevated. I think people looking at it, a police station. Again, give them the tools that they need. You talk about logbooks. That needs to be changed. For a laptop, how difficult can that be? And I'm just saying, there are just things.
My plan was to buy at least 2 or 3 and donate it to the Senegambia police station.
Do you know, police station? It's the easiest thing. You contact any of these organizations in the diaspora, whether it's in Europe, and say, we would want to raise at least 40 laptops for the police. I can guarantee you, within 2 months, you'll be seeing zoom of laptops, and every police station would be able to have 2-3 laptops.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And again, the Minister of Digital Economy, Usman Ba, he was on, what they call it again, on Peter Gomez, talking about, the e-government and all of that. And I'm just hoping, again, without the tools, without elevating the police and the role they play within our community, I think that should be the start before anything else. Funjar, change of perception. And also, we have to change the laws.
No, the police just validated a 5-year policing strategy. And part of it, reading what Asan Tangara, who is the PS, Permanent Secretary, Minister of Interior, said was stated that the plan aims to improve the capacity and capabilities of the GPA, that's the Gambia Police Force. This includes investing in training, technology, and infrastructure to provide officers with tools and resources they need to perform their duties effectively and efficiently.
Yes,
but you see, this cannot also just be on paper, because that's the problem that we have. So for them Gambia, there is enough policy written for how many you can run an other country and make it into. If you actualize it anywhere else, that country can become like the best country in the world. But we put this thing on paper, and then tomorrow it will be like we don't have the resources, but we can get the NPs. Can you imagine the seriousness of a country if we had those 58 vehicles and said, you know what, we're going to make sure that every police station will have at least 3 distinct patrol vehicles, fully equipped, fully fueled, so that when you call and say, I have a crime, they're coming to you. Do you know how that could have deterred crime? If you attack now and you call the police, it can take up to 3 hours before they can get to you.
That's a problem. That is a real problem.
So that's the thing. Where do our priorities lie?
So, I mean, the solutions are not too far away. Like I said, we need to look at the data where crimes have been committed, give the police the tools that they need, elevate it, change their offices. I mean, like you said, even if you can give 3 vehicles, because we cannot afford that, the realities of the situation. But every police, I mean, even growing up, police, what we used to call it,
Land Rover. They had the Land Rover.
The Land Rover that they used to call. I mean, James Laga. We were into Pepsi. I mean, and doing our thing. The moment you take the moment you take a noise break, die now. I mean, and they will invade Crab Island. Boys sang for the Pepsi, the Pone, you name it. The moment police in New York send Motobi. I forgot the name though. That was the local name, not Land Rover, whatever they used to call it.
I know what you. I
don't even know now that I think they do though. They still do have police vehicles. I believe. I have to believe
they do. What problem? You'll go and they will tell you.
Are they just assigned to the IG and the deputy IG? Those kind of things. That's what they need to get away from.
They are assigned. Because most police stations, because so they may, like say anti-crime, they have their vehicle. And what you do is a vehicle that carries almost 50 people or whatever, because there's a whole bunch of them running to a place. But what I'm saying here is we have to be a lot more. Here is a solution. And I've been saying this to them. You partner up with New York City. Okay? In the US, maybe every police station, every 2 years, they will change vehicles, or every 4 years.
Yeah.
And most of these vehicles, then they change. Before you them, the co-oxygen will be in good running conditions.
Oh yeah, they're always good cars.
I say, listen, a poor country, we want to partner up with you guys. These are some of the support that we need. Maybe you may not be able to give us good cars or the new ones, but we can at least use used ones that we can manage with, if they're in decent condition. Now, those cars are always fully equipped with the communication system that you'll have to change, and so much you see all those. So at least that they can use this thing, with the police, with the so we can do this, whether it is in Europe. So it's not, and I don't even think that it's difficult to buy them.
No.
But at least partner up with some of these. We are a low-hanging fruit. But
there are things that can be done, no doubt. One thing that we have also seen within the police, they have some professionals nowadays. Smart police. Police were known for dropouts from primary school that will go and join the police. Now they have graduates all over the place. Within the police. So it's not like that the human capital be there. The capacity is there. What is lacking, without a doubt, is the tools. Now, the leadership, there isn't much I can say about the IG, in as much as sometimes people point fingers. That he's been political or whatever. But again, having an IG who is seen and respected, dedicated and committed to security, and at the same time transformational, just like any other entity in the Gambia. It's not just the police. Every other institutions, we have these kind of challenges. Again, being a poor country, without a doubt, has a lot to do with it. When you're a developing country, your problems are all over the place. What do you prioritize? That's where the problem comes in. And when you do not have, effective leadership, no doubt, that makes it difficult. And our country, small as it is, the toxicity of everything is seen partisan lines. So you hold down the police in there, them saying you don't feel like Adijar, your angle is nothing but partisan. That's just what you're looking at. More than anything else.
You know what? They are
the
most
all the
toxic.
Time.
They are the most toxic. And I think you see the toxicity that we talk about in the Gambia, I sometimes believe is so overblown, it's not even funny, especially if you live in the West. We've seen England, they had a big crisis in their National Assembly the other day, But the car that we were talking about, according to Nyes, we have the fake in the Kasi Choi.
Kasi Choi. One of the Kasi Choi. But Samba, don't you see what you have just done? When we talked about crime, we thought, this is a big deal that needs to be taken care of. You didn't, I could easily make the same argument. Whatever crime that we're having is overblown. It's the same thing because we are a small community. America can afford to be partisan as hell, and it's affecting them seriously. But I know that the America that I rolled in the mid-80s, in the 90s, in terms of their politics, has changed immensely. And that has also affected America's stature. What makes America being the greatest country in the world, it was because of even the way that they do their politics. But since then, the toxicity, their politicking has degenerated up to a point that America cannot even implement anything. We all see what happened in the border issue that was, that the Senate passed and now it's just laying right there in the House for political reasons. And they are saying that this is a problem. It's a huge problem at the border. But they're toothless, they're impotent. It cannot be implemented because of what? Partisan politics, the toxicity itself. None as a country, being that small, I do not think we can afford that. Let's have our partisan differences. So election jote, ñu dem reyante ka ci nit ñi. But when it's done and dusted off, we moved on and focused on how do we develop this small community, Samba. So I don't think that it's being exaggerated.
No. Here is the issue though. Toxicity, of course, and that comes with the territory.
Say that again.
Toxicity in politics.
Yes,
of course, it is to be expected. But like we said, it can also be managed. Where when it comes to serious matters, we can all sit around the table and say, hey, let's look at this thing seriously because it would affect not only our today, but also our tomorrow. Because at the end of the day, if Gambia feels, it feels for all of us. It does not, there is no way that, like I did a video on this thing. And I'm never the friendliest person to the police or anybody who deals with security anyway.
You're not the friendliest party to anything that is pragmatic and that one can see to be normal.
Anyway, Mr. Normal, I hope that them gajina dali like Donald Trump anyway. But here is the issue. Since Fox News guys, you know what? The black support is eroding from the Democrats and they're getting excited because of these sneakers, because the inner city that appeals to them. Trump knows Trump knows cultural politics like nobody else, So the black people pretty much all Musa Jeng and this thing will be buying the sneakers because of Trump and voting for him. But here is the issue, Musa. Like I was saying, because if you look at crime, Sibopa, it leaves, there is no Gambian that is safe.
No.
As long as crime is there. Because if they take that kush or whatever they call it, they don't recognize who is Usainu Dabo or who is Adama Barrow or Khalifa Saleh. They can see you in the streets and knock you out.
Yeah.
Because of it's just like when Ross
Right.
You see people who will do the dumbest thing, steal, and go to a polylampa and stand there thinking that you are hiding. And if it is Igbo town, they would come and cut your ears and then throw you in the river, the salted river. So but the thing is, like I was saying, most nobody is safe until everybody is safe.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So for everybody to be safe, we must all look at the safety of everybody, because you cannot, like you said, you can be the richest person in the country. Mm-hmm. But the mere fact that you will spend extra amount of money to beef up your security.
Exactly.
So that you are not safe.
No.
Now, are we going to be a country that is crime-free? That will never happen anywhere in the world. But at least on this one, let's all come together and find a solution. If people feel that we can equip the police to do their job, let's do it. But let's also make sure that when we do that too, that the rights of people are also respected, where we cannot over-police to the extent that abrogation of rights will be the order of the day. So in India, we have a responsibility to have a country that we can live in peace, in liberty, and in justice, because the absence of either one of them definitely would not be very helpful.
Yeah.
The hell is this?
No doubt. We all remember when when 2 police officers, it looks like that was years ago. Mm-hmm. Nobody is talking about that anymore. Those 2 police officers were slaughtered.
The case is going on.
Yeah, it's still going on. But what I'm saying is,
I'm following it. Mm-hmm.
we all saw the reaction. It didn't take long. It looks like some people were even supporting the supposed alleged killer, and make it more of a political issue. There was a lot of, instead of allowing the case, really, we all saw it. How the thing has been reduced.
That is very sad. Because at the end of the day, here is my thing. Those police officers, irrespective of what you think about the government, did not do anything deserving of that cowardly shooting. Those police officers are Gambians too. They're human beings. They have families who would miss them. Even if, let's say, for example, if a police officer had abused you somewhere, that is never a reason to celebrate the callous killing of another human being. But I have my problems here with the police. That's why it's one of the reasons why I don't drive. Because I believe the more in contact I come with them, the greater opportunity.
That's a very crazy excuse, because I have a problem with the police. That's why I don't drive. And you guys, he comes here every Sunday and speak to you guys. And then go drop the thumbs up.
Let me ask you a question, Musa. Let me ask you
out of normalcy.
Let me ask you a question, Musa. How worried are you always that your son is driving a car as a black man in America, and anything can go wrong with a police officer and it can end very badly? No.
Look, if there is a reality in the US, we all know that. There are really bad cops out there that are very racist. We have a system of policing that can be very racist. They stereotype black people, especially young black people. No doubt about that. Those are the realities. Am I worried? Yes, I'm worried. But again, how do they say it? The way you raise your children has a lot to do with it, for them to understand that, hey, be very careful now, because you are being stereotyped. You are, the presumption of innocence is out of the window. The moment they see you, they think that you are up to no good. There's no doubt about that. Yes, those are the realities. But what I'm saying is, that doesn't stop me from helping him to get a driver's license and drive. That's just the reality. My daughter or myself. So what you are saying is, I do not trust the police.
No.
Thank God, Adam, your daughter is not listening to your crazy dad. She's driving, going from A to B. I'm glad your significant other is not listening to you, your crazy self. She's driving because it's part of the reality. Now, whatever your choices are, I think, but like everything else this man engages in, is over the top. That's his problem.
Listen, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, Musa. the occasions that I have had driving, whether is it in Minnesota or here, or even North Carolina, the last time coming from Atlanta, attending July 4th, had always not been very, very distinct, pleasant. And I know myself, all right? I'm not going to sit there and back down from somebody trying to make me what I am not. So guess what? Life has been so good to me. I love the bus. I can read or listen to whatever until I get to the stop that I need to get off the stop, cross the street. If I don't get hit by a car, get to where I'm going. Then I take German and So I've done that for 10 years and I'm good.
I'm just watching the comments and I see someone, a good friend of mine who's been under the weather. The fact that he comes here every Sunday. Brother Bal, I hope that you're doing really well. I'm always glad when I see that you're tuning in to For the People, by the People. It's Albert Valentine, Pop Samba. You know, he lives in Massachusetts.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. I know. Yeah.
Yes. So
yeah, that's Vice friend.
Vice's, yes. Exactly. So, Pop Samba. So I guess we kind of just talked a little bit about the dialogue. It happens last week, and it didn't take long for us to get what I would say, the commitment to the dialogue. Was it just for political reasons? Or was it honesty? It didn't take long.
No, it did not. Musa, Mother, when I talk about some of these issues, it's not being a pessimistic person. But you see, when you develop policies and programs, when you come up with something, don't just do it for show. There should be something tangible coming out. Most Gambians, their understanding of the dialogue was that all these political leaders, maybe because Gambians here, the whole focus of the dialogue is that. That's what they thought was the dialogue about, especially between the UDP and the NPP. But we see what is happening now. Sidi all of a sudden now, this is the guy who never used to in fact respond to anybody now. And this started during the dialogue. When Amadou Sane stood up and said something about the budgeting, about corruption, and CD felt, I had to respond to that.
Right.
And went on and on and on and on in the most incoherent, way.
Right.
Now the UDP wrote a statement because of Jammeh's faction were attacked and tear gassed. And people are saying the reason for it was because they said they were using the APRC logo or whatever. Fabagari Tombongjata believe that they don't have this thing. Who knows? But I don't even know Bapa be getting rules. Now the UDP came and we are condemning that attack. You saw what Sirijai wrote or was written for Sirijai. All right.
I've seen it. Because, both from him and Fabagari Tombong.
Fabagari Tombongjata. Went after Mr. Dabo. In fact, he didn't go after UDP. He just went after Mr. Dabo.
Of course, because he was attacked. I guess he's the one who signed the press release and being the leader of the party. So they don't differentiate.
So went after Mr. Dabo. In fact, even accused Mr. Dabo of being responsible for his arrest in 2019. I didn't even remember this boy was arrested. And that Mr. Dabo used to advocate for the banning of the APRC, that Mr. Dabo used to, what is it? Nepotism, tribalism, and all these things. And then you sit there and you're like, you see, to me, maybe it's my biasness against Sirijai. When I hear Sirijai and Fabakary Jata speak, Musa, I'm like, I just cannot help myself. But there is something that I saw Maindo said, MC Cham, and was, you know what, you should be very happy because your current position is as a result of the sacrifice that Mr. Dabo did and his people going to jail and all that stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But, and then you ask yourself, what was this dialogue all about? Because the dialogue, again, to most Gambians, it was about nothing but UDP and Adama Barrow Tey Sani Kher, UDP Sani Kher the next day. That was what people, because even when we were talking about it, the main focus was the UDP, NCP, UDP, NPP back and forth. But again, then you ask yourself, these are the key players of this, what do they call it, dialogue. I think they've moved on to other things now. Dialogue Bajekna. The most short-lived dialogue ever. But again,
I don't really think. I mean, I was one person that stood here and said, and I still do believe that reaching out to the opposition and sitting down with them to hear from them, it's always a good thing. What is absent is the people that are doing the reaching out, they do not really believe in it.
No, they don't.
And the people that they reached out to, I think, you see, we know we have a political problem when we say the toxicity. For me, if I were the one at the State House and extending an invitation, my friend, all you do is don't go dilute. You just kind of water it down. I have said this, the most important stakeholders, as far as I'm concerned, in that dialogue, Moi, the NPP, and the United Democratic Party, and to some extent, Doi. Seriously, and maybe because of my biases, if you want to call it that, because he's a serious man, Moi, Mr. Dabo, the former vice president, Bibi Dabo, and yes, Mama Kande. You know, so if you were to bring those people on the table and then you talk about variety of issues where you guys can agree to disagree with genuineness, then I can really see results. Now, I have also said here, and even Sarian come after me, that an invitation was sent to the United Democratic Party. I would have seriously, and they said, well, we sent a representative. What I saw, I'm going to get flagged for it. What I saw, more a party that was within debate in itself. They had a faction that said, to hell with them. We ain't sitting with them. There's a faction that said, oh, wait a minute. No, let's not be the bad guy. Let's go there and let's for sure. They were not committed to the dialogue either. So Mr. Dabo, I want to appease to my loose cannon that are out there saying, to hell with them. But I also need to take heed of the ones that are kind of level-headed and so at the end of the day, the principles within the dialogue, they were not even committed to it. So do them fee, be fee, the lolu moy diga. And you see, just this case, one lulu. You have this so-called non-alliance. This non-alliance, the people that still are committed. He was the best thing since sliced bread. Non-alliance. That's what they are. That's who these people are. And then you have the other Fabakary Tombong and Sidi Njai on the other side.
They also believe
the murder. They still do not believe. I've never heard them say they pronounce it. Nejame was responsible. What they are saying is,
can I kindly brief in and out?
No, No. Let's call a spade a spade. These two supposed stakeholders, they have a fight. Why am I even bothering myself? I will trust the police before I trust non-alliance. I can tell you that, 110%. I don't know the details of what transpired, but I know that they are up to no good. Do they have rights that needs to be protected? Yes, they do have rights to be protected. But these are the same people that did not support or care for my rights either. For 22 years, when people have been bludgeoned to death, we had a TRRC.
Just like Fabakary Tombong Jatta also
Just
said.
like Fabakary Tombong Jatta. Okay. Because of they on the other side, let's forgive and forget, or forget and forgive. Let's move on. They want a torn page. So these are the people that we are supposed to give me a break. If our dialogue is going to be relied on, and again, we'll see what happened after this whole thing. UDP put out their press release. I mean, I'm sure they're supporting non-alliance. They're trying to do their political angling. Call it whatever you want to call it. That's what it is. I mean, I see the politics all over it. And then you have Bakari Tombong Jatta as usual and Siti Njai. People that I don't even know, to be honest with you, I don't even know what the case is all about. All I know is supposedly they had a permit to organize a fundraising that went crazy. The police came back and supposedly tear gassed them. Why they did? I mean, I was even trying to get the police here for them to explain to us what in the world happened.
Yeah, here, man, what I understand happened was there was a permit to hold a meeting, and the whole brouhaha was they were using the APRC logo, and they are not. And Lulu, I don't think should be even enough to go there and even try to disperse anybody. And the police also need to be very careful about. They must not be the ones fighting Fabakari Tombong Jatta Yaya Jammeh fight, because there is something that if you follow what has happened, there was a report that there was a reconciliation meeting between the non-alliance.
I heard about that.
Fabakari Tombong Jatta. The Holocaust deniers decided that, now we're going to have a meeting and come back under Hitler. Jammeh. Markova Fabakari, Holocaust deniers. And then, Jammeh and his ways. He waited Begai Pare until they were done. And he came out and said, I did not authorize any negotiation with Fabakari Tombong Jatta or anybody. I have not spoken to Fabakari since he joined the NPP. The only way that they can have anything to do with is if they return back all our documents and this thing to us and come back. This is thing. Now, Fabakari Tombong Jatta, he said, okay, dude, you are in exile. I am now the third most powerful person in this country. Let's see who is at play. Because to me, Musa, it's just like Ajeras. If somebody decided they form Ajera and they are having a meeting there under the Ajera, and Ajera propagate and call the police, and the police go there and say, you know what, you guys need to stop your meeting now because you're using somebody's logo. Somebody call the police. I don't know the whole
Again,
fact.
I don't know the facts. All I'm saying is, in as much as I do believe that people should be able to have fundraising and they should be able to have meetings in a democracy, that I honestly do believe. But I also do believe, I subscribe to laws. If there are laws and processes and procedures to do certain things, and you don't follow up with those laws and those processes and those procedures, and the police come there and say, this is an illegal gathering, whether one agrees with it or not, you're going to hell with you, give them the finger, we're going to have our meeting.
Is that what
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know that. But all I'm saying is, police are not just going to come to a gathering and just start tear gassing people. I don't think that is.
We've seen them on.
I don't think that is reasonable. Hold on.
No. But let's act
like you don't have the facts. I don't have the facts. We are making anecdotal presumptions.
Okay.
I am thinking, the way I'm like a reasonable person.
The way that you always defend the status quo. Give them the benefit of the doubt 100% every time.
That they have violated. Again, forget about whether they were supposed to have a gathering or a fundraising.
But
all I'm saying is, we were just, like I said, if you, let's say, for instance, I give you a permit and realize, the way you got the permit, you lied about it. You know what I mean? You come there, let's say you use Ajera, for instance. They came and they got a permit. Again, unless we have the PRO or the police to come and tell us exactly what happened.
Maybe in the interest of fairness, maybe we can skip this. I'll contact the PRO.
But if you're going to make, and I want to respond to my man, Bob Toure, you know me, when our politics is to defend anything that is infringement of anyone's right. Yeah, right. And I was born yesterday. And you, right. And I was born yesterday. And you know that we were here since 2016. There were things that have been going on. But all I'm saying is this. Believe me, this has politics written all over it. That press release wasn't done because of rights. I can guarantee you that. And I get it. Trust me, I do get it. The politics of it, I understand it. I just don't think it's smart. Really. Because non-alliance, I will not put my head out for those people. Not in a million years. Then go jarul sax. Really. But it is what it is.
When justice and rights are violated, sometimes we defend people who people have no business defending. But rights are rights. We cannot just allow it.
But whether their rights were violated is questionable.
You have
to hunger, man. I always said, due diligence.
Due diligence. If not done that,
if you're gonna exploit something for political reason too, danga ampur dal.
You know when this issue came up, you did not even. I don't even think discuss now the thing with you offline. No, we did not even discuss.
We did not even.
And I've read about it, but I'm not very clear about exactly
what happened,
what transpired.
But I attempted to talk to different people. I spoke to my man yesterday, Banka. I'm like, what's going on?
In fact, he would not know anything that happened.
I spoke to Ibrahim Silla. Moibingo extend an invitation, and he's going to be here next Sunday.
And Ibrahim will give you a very unbiased listing.
He did not. I did not even get enough information. All I got was a spin. Understand what I mean?
So maybe it's a lot more complicated than it is, because if everybody is not giving you clear answers about this.
When I see a spin, you know what I mean? I can detect it from 100 miles away. I know that there are partisans that when you talk to them, they will give you their own spiel, just like Bob Toure is doing now, giving me his own spin.
So here is the thing though, because to policy would always want to look good. Do you also want to invite your friends too?
Yes, absolutely. Non-alliance?
Yeah. Does anybody, if anybody knows any one of them, can they just inbox us?
Yes. He was non-alliance.
No, Paul Modou fu mu nekk génn na moom fu mu nekk nii
no everybody is getting. I just saw a picture of the Badger boy from Canada. He was at the reconciliation table with Sabali and CDC.
Did you see his picture at Baro?
Gis naa ko with Baro man Gambia
pretty much it's like, I'm like, oh my God. We just have this culture of, but anyway, hey, you know what? It is their right to do whatever.
Gambia mo neex. You can come here and be seen as the biggest revolutionary. You are going to transform the country. And you don't believe in any of that. And people will buy into it. Elevate that.
Mandal, this is what I believe. I just watch some of these people.
Whether it's Mamadou Sabali, whether it's Ahmed Jite. You know, when he came to our program, he was very angry at us. He thought we were unfair. And all we did was just challenge. My homeboy, I think he's watching too. I mean, Ahmed Jide is boyfriend.
Oh, by the way, so doesn't mean that he's also fully reconciled now with NPP since his boy is back?
Hey, Mombi reconcile Yagana. I'm going to small brother than one in political thing. This guy was like, I am off the bus. Supported to my battle. But now, oh my God.
And Musa, and that is a thing. Most people in our politics are not in it because of policies or programs.
No.
They're in it because of relationships. That's it. They believe in nothing. It's like tomorrow they can Sidinjai, let's say, look at somebody like Sidinjai. And there are so many people like Sidinjai. This is the same guy who decided to accompany Gambia all the way to Equatorial Guinea. Maybe he looked around and said, I don't think money is coming here. Money, let me go back to the country and I'll manufacture something. Let me run for the National Assembly. That didn't work out. Money, you know what? I think I'm related to Adama Barrow. We are cousins. And that's it.
I think they're related though. That's what I heard.
Everybody is related. Let me tell you something. You may even be related to me without knowing it. There is nobody in the Gambia who's not related to somebody else. Everybody,
but if you dig deep,
you will look at listening to that guy talking about the Jaws and the Simers and all this, and how this all names changes, and then the Jais are where all, and you look at it, I'm like, who the hell is, you are related to everybody in that country. So to a relationship, You can wake up tomorrow and you'll be related to Ousseynou Dabo. One of these days, you'll just sit here and say, you know what? Guess what? I didn't know them as mom and they came on mommy Ousseynou Dabo. Because there is that possibility is always there. But like I was saying, there are so many people who follow politics, not because of what politics does for the country, but because of the relationship they have with those politicians or what they expect from it. And this is why they have no problem walking away from a project. A party like, let's say, DOI, the reason why you think Syria and Yom Halifani, maybe they don't, because there is no relationship that sometimes you may not even have clash of ideas and all. Maybe it happens.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But the reason why they stay put is because of getting into it had nothing to do with relationship that they have, it's because of ideas that they share. There's a reason why Kemesek Jame, sitting in wherever he is now, whether he's in Talinding or Mugijara Somo or wherever, that the UDP thing is nothing that he's going to walk away from. That doesn't mean that he may be happy with everything that is happening in the party, but because of his belief in the party and what is going on. The reason why Ajiyam could have easily walked away and said, you know what, man badema barong, mako dimbele was a letter
very easily.
My edit letter ba xamne moko bindon pen ba sax mako ko jox kiti mako ko she could have easily done that.
She could have easily, sir.
But maybe they believe that and say, you know what, I'm good. But all these other people, tay manga GDC, elek manga UDP, elek deba manga NPP, tay manga APRC. It has nothing to do with commitment, principles, policies, programs, nothing. It's all about relationship.
Those people will never be able to bring about change. I don't care, because they just the politics of it. Again, I'm not saying if I support a party and they abandon the core values that brought us together. For instance, Syria Jata,